Well, I asked what you guys thought about bringing the Odyssey on race week, and many of you guys said we should bring the Odyssey, so we're gonna pull the trigger and do it. We got 10 days to get this thing ready for race week. We are going to pull the motor and go through everything. I want to put a new head gasket on this thing just to make sure it's ready for the trip. And another thing is I do want to pull the cap off of the transmission and make sure that the nuts on the shafts are staked. What we learned from the MR2's transmission is that it is very important to stake those nuts to make sure they can't move, and I don't think we did it on this transmission either, so I want to pull it apart and go through it, make sure that's all good to go. And while it is all apart, we are also going to be pulling the interior out of it, and Sean is going to help us knock out a roll cage on the Odyssey because it's going to need to pass tech inspection as well, and it needs a roll cage regardless because it's getting very fast now, so we want to try to keep this thing safe. It would not be good to roll over in this big old minivan. So we're going to go ahead and just get right to it. We're going to pull the motor out of this thing and start getting the interior ripped out of it after that, and then we're going to get it onto the other side of the shop where Sean can start doing his thing and start getting a cage thrown together. We'll go through the motor, refresh it, put it all back together, and then just get everything else ready that we need and get it ready for race week. Should be pretty fun.
I'm excited to take
race week in a minivan.
It's gonna be sick, dude.
It's gonna be awesome. So let's get to it.
Yeah, the oil looks good, man. Look at it.
Nice and clean.
Whoa, whoa! How did that taste? Is there any metal in it?
Little 85, no metal. It's good.
I'm good to go.
Good braking oil. All right, we got the engine pulled out of the Odyssey. We were able to leave the turbo manifold and turbo all kind of together. Looks pretty cool out of the engine bay like that. So we just dropped it all out, and we are going to be going through everything on here to make sure it's ready for race week. And then I also went ahead and got all of the interior pulled out of the Odyssey, got all the back seats out, the front seats, and pulled the carpet. And then there was also these plastic pieces that went back there. You can see there's a whole bunch of sound deadening in this thing that can be removed, so we'll save some weight after we pull all of that out. But we are ready to push this thing over to Sean's side.
I think we should try to make a bed put a bed right there.
Yeah, put a little twin mattress in the back. We could just take some naps.
Do like a little Fong rebuild, little conversion van.
Just turn it into a camper.
Right.
Pellet stove.
Yeah, there's so much room.
Yeah, it's big in here.
It's huge without the seats and all that.
Yeah, she's a big girl, but we're ready to bring it over to Sean's side, and he's going to go ahead and start getting everything mocked up for the roll cage. It's going to be, you know, obviously a few day process to get the cage done, but we wanted to get it ready for him as much as possible. He just wanted the carpet and seats out, and then we'll just go from there. So we're going to get it pushed over to his side, and he's going to be taking over, and then I'm going to be doing my best to help him out with whatever he needs. But then this will give us a lot of time to go over the engine and everything just to prep the Odyssey for race week.
10 days.
10 days.
Is that what we got?
Yep.
Those wires real quick.
So we got the Odyssey pushed over here to Sean's side. We got the seats and everything torn out, and right now we are taking all of the sound deadening out. I just went and picked up some dry ice and some rubbing alcohol, and he kind of mixed it together to make a little concoction to put all over the sound deadening. You can hear it kind of cracking right now because it's separating, so it will just chip away nice and easy. After we let this sit for a while, we got a couple more blocks right here. We have a whole bunch of sound deadening to go, but then that'll also give us the surface to weld to and everything like that. But yeah, get all this out, and then we can see how we need to get this roll cage laid out. So while Sean is getting started on the roll cage, we went ahead and got the head pulled off of the engine. So we got it all torn down right now, and we are just doing a head gasket for good measure. It was actually starting to push the gasket just a little bit, even though the head gasket didn't look like it was in too bad a shape. You can see right there, a little black spot where it may have been starting to go, but overall we just wanted to change it for good measure. And with all the issues we've been having with the head stuff, especially after what just happened to Hondru and what happened to the MR2, I also wanted to double check this head, make sure everything was looking good on here. And this is just a Stockport head that me and Todd put together with all Freya valve train and dual springs and retainer. These are the 105-pound springs, and everything looked perfect when we took it apart. The issue I had on my MR2 is the lash kept tightening up, as if the whole kind of assembly was moving up inside the head. And then when I would go to put a feeler gauge underneath this rocker arm right here on the MR2, it would no longer fit after we just set it. And as you guys know, these little rocker arms, when the lobe of the cam is not pressing down on this and not opening the valve at all, these have a little bit of play, they wiggle. And what was happening on the MR2 is they were completely tightening up. There was no wiggle on them whatsoever. And I think that was like part of the issue. But everything looked perfect on here. They all were in spec. Everything was set right where we set it from the very beginning, which is really good news. The tops of the retainers aren't hitting on nothing like they are on the MR2. And everything's just looking perfect. So that was just one thing I wanted to double check as well. And everything's looking great. So we're good to go there. We also just got a fresh set of O-rings on around each of the cylinders. You have to do that every time you take the head off. So we just got the new copper O-rings installed and now ready to put it back together.
Getting a good pump.
Oh yeah. It's got the head on, the final torque at 100 foot-pounds. Ready to go. All right, we got the Rowdyssey's engine all put back together with a fresh head gasket. Everything is good and ready to go. We just got to throw the damper on there and the alternator belt, and that is done. And we still need to get the transmission pulled off and just want to re-torque the stacks, like I said, and get those nuts staked. But we are going to be doing that another day. We just wanted to get that done because we'd still have plenty of time while the roll cage is getting done. But we are, you know, on a time crunch, like we said, 10 days. So got to get it knocked out. Yeah.
You can pull that out pretty quick. You just got to pull out the front, the top cover.
Yeah, that's like a half-hour deal to get that all done, and then we'll be ready to go. So we're gonna go see where Sean's at real quick on the cage, and I'll probably wrap it up for today. All right, so Sean has been making awesome progress on the Rowdyssey's cage so far. I think I left off with him getting the sound deadening pulled out with the dry ice, and that is all done. All the sound deadening is out of this thing. We got it all in this box right here. It's probably good like 20 to 30 pounds of sound deadening. So that's all out of the way. And he already went ahead and got the main hoop bent, and he has just been getting her knocked out. He has the driver's seat in right now just for clearance, and the rear seat as well, just to make sure the passengers can still fit, because we are still going to be able to keep the back seats in the Rowdyssey. That's what makes it a minivan. So we wanted to keep all that still intact. And we were looking at the rule book for a while, trying to figure out any loopholes that would keep this good enough to still be certed, because a big concern we had is our original plan was we were going to actually do two main hoops. So you have the main hoop right here. We were going to bend another one to go right there and then just like connect them with two bars, but that wouldn't technically pass certification because you need two unobstructed bars from the top of this hoop all the way down to a support down like on the subframe or something tied in back here. So that would not let that happen. So we actually found a loophole, and with the size chromoly we're using, we looked at the rule book and it said it can be any length coming off the back, and as long as it is anything more than 30 degrees from vertical, it's good. And that's all the rules say. It doesn't say anything about not allowing bends. So what we are doing is he has these two pieces right here all bent up, and you want to try maybe like lift this one into place, kind of show what we're going to do. So that comes off of the main hoop right there, and it just kind of comes right off and then bends down and ties in back here, and then that will let us add a bar from down there, connect to that, finish the rest of the hoop out, and then this will be an unobstructed bar all the way to the back, and we should be good to go.
Yep.
So then that will still give us room for the passenger seats in the back and everything. We've also taken into consideration that we will probably put like Kirkies in here at one point. So we've made it work for either seat, the stock seats, or if we want to put race seats in here. And then something else that was really cool is he got this piece up here all pulled apart from factory. There was a fan in here and an AC condenser, and this is where the blower motor would come out for the people in the back seat. And he got that all taken apart, and we are actually going to be covering up part of the cage with the assembly that went right here. So that's all like up on the roof right now, and he measured it out that it will work. So all those parts are right here, the cover's right here, so we actually just have to gut this guy out, and this cover will actually go back on right there and cover up the top part of the cage right there. So it's gonna be pretty sweet. But this is where he's at for right now. Main hoop is bent, all the sound deadening is out, and then the two back bars are done. We also have someone coming after the weekend to pull the windshield out, so then we can start doing everything from there forward. But it's making really good progress. I'm really liking how it's looking. It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of open space.
yeah, the minivan's big, but it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, we just really wanted to be able to keep the back seats and stuff, and it looks like we'll be able to pass tech hopefully with it as well, because we're following the rules, and if all goes to plan, this thing should tech to 850, and if we're ever going that fast in this van, I would be very excited. So I think we have plenty of cage for it for right now. I know Sean wanted to do more cage than this. He was trying to convince me to do a full like funny car hoop and everything, because he's convinced it's gonna go really fast, but I'm thinking we have to get there first and then we'll see. But
I always plan for more.
yeah, that's where she's at for right now though. So it's coming out awesome. Well guys, that is going to be it for this video. We are officially taking the Odyssey to Rocky Mountain Race Week. I think it's gonna be a whole bunch of fun. The original plan was to take the MR2, but it just didn't work out, and I think the Odyssey is gonna be a better candidate for Race Week anyways. It's gonna be way more comfortable. We're gonna leave the stock seats in there, and we'll have way more room sitting in a minivan. And I think the adventure is just gonna be really fun overall, bringing the Odyssey, but we definitely have a lot of work to do. Clearly the motor is still not in this thing. Still have to go through the training, make sure it's good, and then we obviously have to finish the roll cage. But Sean has been doing really good with the little amount of time that he has into it. We actually just got these back bars kind of hung up into place so you guys can see what we're trying to do. This part right here is just going to be a little higher than that, but you can see when they come off, we're going to connect it there. We'll have 2 more bars that come down to kind of make a hoop over the passenger area as well in the back. Then this obviously needs to be X-braced right here. We're going to have a bar that comes out and around the seat so we can still keep the stock seats. It's going to be freaking awesome, guys. And then we save some weight taking out all that sound deadening, and then the Odyssey needs to go on a diet one day. I think eventually, kind of want to like strip the doors out and stuff, but we'll get into that another day. She is a pretty big girl, but she definitely needs the roll cage with how much power this thing's making. I want to be able to go fast at the track and not get kicked out, and it's just going to be awesome. So I hope you guys are excited. Like I said, hopefully we can get her all put together for race week, and we'll see where we go from there. But it's going to be fun. Cletus and them are coming down as well, and you know, Brent and Jamie are coming along with the Curse. I believe Brent's going to be riding with Cletus and Leroy, so it's going to be a fun adventure. We didn't get to go last year because we didn't have any of the cars ready, so we're going to do our best to get the Odyssey knocked out, because she's the best candidate for us right now to do it. And then we also need to track down a trailer to tow all of our tools and supplies with us. So it's going to be fun for sure. But that is going to wrap it up for today, and we'll see you guys later.